Well, in this video we're going to graph inequalities. So the first few things we got to figure out is, do we use brackets or parentheses, and do we shade right or left? So if you got equals under those inequalities, you're going to use brackets because that means it includes that point. If there's no equals under the inequalities, you're going to use parentheses. Also, if it's greater than or greater than an equal, you're going to shade to the right. If it's less than or less than an equal, you're going to shade to the left. Alright, so let's try some of these and see how we do. So number one, I want to solve and graph the following inequality. X plus 7 greater than 2. So when you solve these, you treat the inequality like an equal sign. What you do to one side, you're going to do to the other side. So to get the x by itself, I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. That way the x comes down. This 7 and negative 7 cancel on that side. Bring down my greater than. And then 2 and negative 7 give me a negative 5. So we need to graph this answer now on a number line. So I'm going to draw me a number line. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So negative 5 will be about right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 will be about that way. So it says that x has to be greater than negative 5. So greater than does not have an equals under it, so I'm going to use the curves. And then greater than, it says shades to the right. So we're going to find negative 5, put a parenthesis, and then we're going to shade to the right. And then we are done. Alright, moving on to number 2. Number 2 says y plus 2 is less than 9. So pretty similar to the first one, I just need to get the y by itself. So since this 2 is being added, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. Alright, that y comes down. 2 and negative 2 cancel. Bring down my less than, and then 9 and negative 2 give me 7. So now we need to graph that answer. So what I'm going to do, since 7 is the number they're giving me, I'm sort of going to put 7 here, and then this will be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This way will be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and so on. So we got a less than. Less than, it says, uses parentheses again, but this time it's less than, and notice less than shades left. So we're going to find 7 and put a parenthesis, and then we're going to shade left. So that anything that's shaded makes that true. 6 is shaded, 6 is less than 7. All these numbers that are shaded are less than 7. Everything that's not shaded makes that false. Alright, let's see number 3. I got a plus 4 less than or equal to negative 15. Alright, so once again we're going to solve this. So all I need to do is take this 4 and subtract it from both sides. Then the a will be by itself. So the a comes down. 4 and negative 4 cancel. Bring down the less than or equals. Alright, now negative 15 and negative 4 give me a negative 19. So we're going to draw our number line again. So I'm going to use negative 19 in the middle. So this will be what? Negative 18, negative 17, negative 16, and so on. And this way would be negative 20, negative 21, negative 22, and so on. So once again, it's got equals in it. So now with equals, I'm going to have to use brackets. And then it is, where we at? Less than or equal, so we're going to shade left. So at negative 19, we're going to put a bracket this time. And then shade left. So once again, anything that's shaded makes that true. And since negative 19 has a bracket, negative 19 is less than or equal to negative 19 is true. Alright, 4, let's see, we got 0.8x less than negative 56. Alright, so I got a decimal, so I'm going to turn on the calculator because I need to divide both sides by 0.8. So negative 56 divided by 0.8 equals negative 70. So x is less than negative 70. Alright, so yeah, we're going to start the number line on this one at that negative 70. And then that'll be what? 69, 68, 67, all negative, and then negative 71, negative 72, negative 73, negative 74. It's less than uses parentheses, and then less than also shades to the left. So at negative 70, I'm going to put a parenthesis and shade to the left. And then we are done. Alright, so let's turn the page here real quick. Alright, number 5 wants me to determine the domain. So that means to find all the x values that we can put into that and get real numbers out of that. So on a radical, let's see, I got what? 16 minus x. So the thing I know about a radical is that if you got a radical, whatever is under that radical has to be greater than or equal to 0. If this is negative under the radical, then we will get imaginary numbers. And remember, imaginary numbers are not real, so we cannot include those kind of numbers in our domain. So anything under that radical, we're going to set it greater than or equal to 0. So here we go. The only thing under the radical is 16 minus x. So I'm going to take the 16 minus x and set it greater than or equal to 0. So radicals are the second thing we're worried about on the domain. The first thing was fractions, and y'all had plenty of fractions already. Alright, so let's solve this. You can do this either two ways. You can subtract 16 and then take care of that negative, or you can add x to both sides and be done. So I'm just going to add the x to both sides, because what that'll do, this 16 will come down. I'm greater than or equal to, and then 0 plus x is x. So 16 greater than or equal to x is the same thing as x less than or equal to 16. Notice you can turn them around as long as it still points towards the x. Alright, so to write that in interval notation, remember this is saying it's got to be less than 16, right? So that means 16 will be the right number. Alright, notice I got equals under here, and equals we use brackets. Alright, now, this thing is pointing left. Anytime you got the variable on the left side of the equation, it points the way you're going to shade. So if you're shading to the left, or you're pointing to the left, what are you heading towards? You're heading towards negative infinity. And remember, infinity or negative infinity, always use the curvy brackets, the curvy parentheses. Alright, so less than goes left towards negative infinity. If it was greater than, it would go right towards positive infinity. Alright, same question. We got f of x is equal to a square root x minus 5. So, since the x minus 5 is under the radical, I'm going to take the x minus 5 and set it greater than or equal to 0. Alright, so we only got to do one move to solve this. It looks like we're just going to add a 5 to both sides, so that x is greater than or equal to positive 5. So this time, 5 is going to be the smallest number because the x is greater than 5. So 5 will be on the left side this time, and we'll have a number on the right. Now, it's equals, so at the 5 we need to have a bracket. You'll notice on most of these with the radicals, you're going to use brackets instead of parentheses around those numbers. Now look, it's pointing right, so we're going to shade right, or we're headed right. And if we're headed right, we're headed towards positive infinity. And infinity always uses parentheses. Alright, so let's knock out this last one. Find the domain of the function f of x equals 19 minus x. Alright, so think about this. There's only two things we're worried about on a domain. If it's a fraction, does it have a variable in the denominator? Or, if it's a radical, is there a variable under that radical? Well, I don't see no fractions here. I don't see no radicals. So since there's no fractions, no radicals, that means that no matter what I put in for that x, I will get a real number out of that. So to represent all real numbers for this domain, we would start at negative infinity and go towards positive infinity. Alright, y'all. Good luck on those, and we'll keep them going.